Okay, time being 7 p.m., I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Spirit Treaty and that the land we gather on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, the Anishinaabe, and the Métis people. Administration advises that there are no amendments to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councillor Gladden, Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Seeing
Again, it's up to the individual counselor. So I mean, it's totally your call on anything like that. I can't guide you in that direction.
I might just abstain from that vote, just due to the fact of him being my brother, and I don't want to.
Okay, so we'll get you to fill out the form then.
Okay, I'll do that after.
Yeah. So when it comes to that time, then you can just leave the room. Where do you want to sit here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just okay. Abstain. Okay. The open and closed session minutes of the last regular meeting, January 16th, are at items 5.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? Seeing none, are there any errors or omissions to note in the closed session minutes? Okay, may I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the open and closed session minutes at items 5.1 of the agenda? Councillor Muir. Councillor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. I feel like I'm yelling. Okay, first matter on the agenda, 6.1, information purposes only relating to requests from other municipalities. Do any members of council have any questions or wish to support the resolution? Councillor Brand.
I'm just curious, what does it cost the town?
Well, in our particular case, we haven't had elections for school board. They've been acclaimed. This election and traditionally, what it could cost the town would be we just admin time basically and the time to do the work around the election. So it really doesn't have a huge impact on us in Red Rock, but we were asked to share it through council. So
if you're going through your regular election for council and you also have your school board trustees on that same election, correct?
Correct. Yes, we handle the elections for the school board.
So if there were more than people, like if there was nobody acclaimed, would there be additional fees include to incorporate those with the regular election?
Well, yeah, there would be additional time to perform the election based on that. I mean, it's hard to put a value to it, but I would assume there's some areas that have significant people running for school boards. So it would take admin time. Like I said, we don't really see much of an impact in Red Rock.
I don't have any problem supporting this. Shunya had an issue this year, right? Which I'm sure cost them a lot. And it was all the school board, but had nothing to do with the municipality. So I am in favor of supporting this.
In bigger communities, I'm sure it has an impact.
How does the rest of council feel?
No. I need to declare a conflict because I work for a school board. Obviously, that's up to me. I'm going to declare a conflict of interest. or even though there's no pecuniary interest, I'm gonna declare a conflict of interest for this.
I'm in favor of support.
I'll support.
Okay. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to support the correspondence from the town of Petrolia regarding school board trustee elections? Councillor Brand, Councillor Glavin. All in favor? Four hands rising. One conflict. Motion's carried. Okay, item 6.2, information purposes only regarding a newsletter from Superior Country. Do any members of council have any questions? Councillor Brand?
This is just a quick question. I'm not sure if you can answer this or not. I'm just on page, I guess it was before, under the top of Superior Hiking Trail guides. Are they located here, or where would one find those guides, hiking guides?
I'm kind of not following where you are. I'll try to.
You would probably have to go onto their website.
Yeah, I'll have to get you an answer on that, but I can make a note and follow up on that.
Superior Country is fantastic at advertising, so I'm quite sure it's readily available in all forms. Councillor Smith?
I just have a question. Do we take advantage of the experience fishing program that they have? Do we know about that? It's, I think, on the last page for programs.
Yeah, I'll get you an answer on that as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Item 6.3, information purposes only regarding meeting minutes from the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. Do any members of council have any questions? Okay, seeing none. 6.4, information purposes only regarding the HPP Food Security Fund from DSAP. Do any members of council have any questions?
Let's have a comment. This was presented to me by Ashley Davis, and she has forwarded this to both the Catholic Church and Baptist Church in Nipigon as they run the food bank. So they're aware of this grant that's available. So just to let you know on that.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, next item 6.5, information purposes only relating to the summary of NOMA meeting with government at the 2023 Roma conference. Do any members of council have any questions? It was a great write-up.
Yeah. It was honestly a lot of detail. It's good, their write-ups. They give the little brief and then it goes deeper dive. So yeah, very straightforward.
Okay, item 6.6, information purposes only relating to the delegation package from NOMA for the 2023 Roma conference. Do any members of council have any questions? Okay, seeing none. 6.7, information purposes only relating to the 2023 NOMA conference agenda. Do any members of council have any questions? Sometimes I don't know if I'm saying Roma or Noma. Okay, seeing none. Item 7.1 are the minutes from the Red Rock Public Library Board meeting on December 13th. Do members of council have any questions? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the minutes? Councilor Muir, Councilor Gladden. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Item 8.1 is a report on administrative activity. Do any members of council have any questions of Mr. Goodwin? Councillor Muir.
Just two birds, one stone with regards to EMS there in your conversation.
Yeah, I assume you're referring to, MPP Bourgeois, just kind of reached out to me, just have a quick telephone conversation based on, she wanted to be updated on what the EMS situation was. She wanted to stay on top of that, follow that, being the MPP for our area. So I just provided her that, kind of the situation that in particular Nipigon and Red Rock are seeing with the EMS consolidation, and she said she was going to follow up with that. I did attend a couple of delegations with the MPP involved in Toronto last week at the Roma conference. EMS didn't particularly come up in there, but she just wanted to bring herself abreast of the situation that we're facing. Yeah, we're just looking for a few updates. I know we had talked about briefly as a council some kind of a team building session or an education session. I was just looking to see if there was any dates that council may have in mind based on that, or if that was the direction we were still looking to go. Or if you just wanted me to kind of throw some dates back at you guys as and see if we could plan that, if that's where we wanted to go.
I would prefer if you come back with some dates. We can.
Do that. The same then, if there's no questions on facility tours. I have spoken to the operators of our water and wastewater facilities, Ontario Clean Water. They're certainly happy to take us through, but it would be an afternoon type of thing or a morning type of thing in those facilities. So again, I can throw some dates out at each of you and see who's interested in that, and what facilities would be of interest. I know water, wastewater. And if there's any other suggestions, just let me know on other facilities.
Councillor Smith.
The public works, that whole area, I've never seen that area. So I think it just, for me at least, helpful so that when we speak about it, I kind of have a visual of what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, and I was thinking of that as well. I mean, especially if we did it in one day, we could hit those three main facilities, unless anybody had any interest in anything else. I could probably try to plan with Ontario Clean Water where we could get operators on the one day and then tie it into to a public works. We can go through that facility as well. No problem. I'll run some dates by for March, February and March and see. Like I said, it'll be a daytime event though.
Councillor Brand.
Yeah, I think I sent you an email saying where I would be interested in going, but I will just tell you March break is a good time for me. I have to put my any time off through the board and it takes time. I'm still waiting for some of the dates, so.
Yeah, I can focus on March. I mean, the weather will be a little bit nicer then too, if you know, unless anybody's got an urgent time for February, we can focus on March for sure. Yeah. AMO conference, so that's coming up in London. So that's another really big conference similar to the Roma conference, where we would have the opportunity as a municipality to sit with individual ministers if that was our so desire. Registration is open, or at least pre-registration at this point. I would think we would want to at best have a good plan to go there, but I think we're in a situation now where, I mean, we're looking at funding opportunities around our recreation center. I mean, we do have some development opportunities with, hopefully with Bruno's contracting quite possibly in the near future where we would need significant amounts of money around a lift station and those kind of things. So I think we'd have ourselves, EMS is another one. I can touch on that in the Roma update, but it would be a matter of, I think setting a policy on who goes. I mean, it's usually not a conference that you would send a whole council to, similar to what we're doing in Thunder Bay with both NOMA and Thunder Bay District. But I think it's important to have a delegation representation there. Of at worst case, the mayor, CAO, and one member of council.
That is what we have done in the past.
So I can follow up with some more information on that in the next little bit as well. The Roma conference that I just attended, I don't know if there was any questions on it, but I did have a summary of some of what went on. I did sit in on all of the NOMA meetings representing Red Rock, so I think that's really important. One of two things happens there. You are in the know for everything that's happening in our region. And number two, you get the ability and the chance to talk to ministers at all times. NOMA does carry a presence, right? So you're with the ministers a good chunk of most of the days, so you can have a lot of individual conversations that way as well. And I did that, so I did have an opportunity to speak with a couple of ministries based around funding models and what we're looking at in Red Rock based around our recreation center. I was able to talk briefly with a parliamentary assistant around Ministry of Health around EMS, who informed us, a few communities, that that is not a provincial issue, that is a City of Thunder Bay issue, but we thought it was worthy of having that discussion anyway. We were able to speak with MPAC as well about taxation and general changes coming for 2023 as well. So and then the conference was very informative. I mean, I sat in a few concurrent sessions, one on innovative practices to attract and retain talented staff to rural municipalities, which was really interesting. Everybody's having trouble recruiting and retaining right now. It's a rural issue, but quickly learned at that conference, it hits the big cities as well. Another good one I sat in on was the asset management for better outcomes. So strengthening council decision making around asset management. So again, it was a good conference. There was a lot of learning that happened there. And again, I was also able through NOMA to sit in with the NDP, the Liberal Party, as well as the Conservative Party in numerous delegations based around the region. So I think we got good value out of that. The arena, the ice surface. So you wouldn't think that we wouldn't be able to get around to natural ice in Red Rock, especially in our facility. And we did have a cold snap for about a week, but if you looked at the long range forecast, it's +1 again now for the next 10 days. Council had put a February 1st deadline. And we've decided that at this point, I mean, we're a little late in that. And with the weather coming, we don't think we'd be successful with it anyway. So we have, I have directed Public Works to help out as much as they can, or a little more, onto the outdoor rink if we can do anything to help that situation. So that's kind of where we've went with that. We're also in the process right now of getting the ice surface ready for programming and things. I think you'll see in the next week, and I think it started today from our recreation department, you'll see kind of some good programming coming and some really good attempts at that. So they're working hard in that department. And that's really it, other than we're going to continue to monitor the black ash. We talked about that at Thunder Bay District. Everybody's kind of in the same boat there. I know that was a question that the council had. Along with the liquor license at the recreation. We're still looking at options, speaking with insurance about that. So there's many factors to that too, but I know they were discussed at the last meeting. So I just wanted to touch base on those that we haven't forgot about it, and we're continuing to work at that. I'm not sure if there was any other questions, but that's kind of
Councillor
all.
Muir?
So basically the province is looking at the EMS issue and saying it is not a provincial issue. It's a regional issue through the city of Thunder Bay that we got to deal with.
Yeah, so the structure of it is in kind of EMS 101 is it isn't technically a provincial issue. So the city of Thunder Bay acts as the agent that administers EMS through our region, right? So so the township of Red Rock, Nipigon, Beardmore, all of those decisions are made at the city of Thunder Bay council table. So in my opinion, again, it's just my opinion, but the system's, I don't think, fair or correct, but the province, yeah, they're saying this is an issue with the city of Thunder Bay, and that's where the issue lies. So that's where we'll have to continue to have those discussions.
That's okay, because I agree with you as well. It's not fair. It's not even ethical that they get to make decisions based on the region. It's without consultation, especially. So that being said, that's good, because now we know where we have to go and do what we need to do then, right?
Yeah, and we've discussed it at Councillor Muir, you sit on the Thunder Bay District Municipal League as well, and I do as well as an administrative rep, and we've discussed it at that level as well, because we truly collectively don't believe it's a proper system. It's actually even unfair to the city councillors if you know some of them, which I do, and in essence they're voting for, they're elected by the city to vote for the city. And that's what they're doing. They're voting, but in essence, then they're not fulfilling their obligation of serving the region, in my opinion, again, because they're in essence going to close or consolidate bases. So I don't know what the exact answer is, but I do know that I think there's, and my numbers might be incorrect here, but if there's 8 DSABs or 10 DSABs within the province, most of the DSABs, all but 2, I believe, actually control EMS under their umbrella, which gives, in my opinion, again, a better regional representation, because I mean, we have a representative on the District Social Service Board right here from Red Rock in this term. So I think at least it gives it gives that voice. I mean, whether it carries anything against the city voice, I truly can't say that, but it definitely gives us a voice. So the city manager for the city of Thunder Bay will be at our next Thunder Bay District Municipal League on as a speaker. So I'm sure that topic will come up.
Councillor Brand, did you have a question?
Sorry. So since we're not getting the ice installed, I believe one year, did we not have an area down at the lakefront that was cleared? And is that a possibility for an outdoor area?
Well, at this point, we are going to focus on the outdoor rink. We did try that last year as well. It posed a quite a challenge based on weather, and also we got quite a bit of feedback, not just on weather and the fact that it was hard to maintain, but it's also cold, very cold down there, and a lot of families don't want to. I mean, and understandably, where you want to send your children down to the waterfront, say for that. So we had made a decision, and it was funded. Part of that was funded through Parks Canada, but and again, we're having an abnormal year, a really abnormal year. So we decided that that this wasn't the year for that.
Then my other question was number 7 with regarding the liquor license. So at this point, the gym lounge, senior room, and club room would not be in a position to have functions with alcohol, correct?
Well, no, I didn't say that. I said we're looking into some of that. I mean, right now, the restaurant liquor license does cover some of that as well. If you use the Red Pebbles, for example. And we're actively working with a group right now that's planning that. We're looking at making sure that we cross all T's and dot all I's on insurance, basically. So I wouldn't say that it's something that's not allowed, but I'll say that we're looking at it, and it's going to take a little bit more work. But
So past practice was if somebody wanted to rent an event, have a wedding or have a celebration, they would provide their liquor license plus $2 million liability insurance. They had to provide that to the township. So that's how it's always run, right? So when there was the 50th anniversary, all of that, whoever was hosting those events provided the liquor license and provided all of that insurance.
yeah, and
So I'm
there's,
assuming that's,
so
same
that
way we're
is,
doing
you're correct, but from what we're gathering, there's another step to it now that they've added. So that's what we're looking into. So the PAL insurance, there's an additional step to it. So we don't see it being a problem, but we're just making sure.
any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Mr. Gladden, Councillor Muir. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, item 8.2 is report on the letter of recommendation received by JML Engineering on the municipal building accessibility project. Do any members of council have any questions of Mr. Figueroa? Councillor Brand?
Okay, sorry, I'm not sure, I might just be confused. So you're saying option A with Ritson and Son is 25,000 and option B is 29,000, is that correct?
Yeah, so option A is the option we're going with, or that is recommended. And that puts us on budget, which we weren't about a month ago. So that puts us on budget, and it puts us within the allotted time. So this money is due to expire. If we don't spend it, it originally was tied into the accessibility at the rec center. We were able to split it. So yeah, you're correct. And that is the recommendation from our engineering company, is to go with option A of the 25.9 plus HST, which then with the HST turns into the 33,787. And again, I believe our funding model for that, what we've been allotted is just under 50,000. So it was about 49,000 and some. And this brings us with the engineering costs, it brings us right in line with so in essence, it's zero cost to the Township of Red Rock or the taxpayers. Correct. You're going with option A of the 25.9 plus the HST.
Excuse me, the 25.9 doesn't come to that 33. That 33. I don't know where that number.
Option B with the HST comes to the 33,787.
Is it?
Yeah.
29.9. Yeah,
So I just did the math, folks.
yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's option B is the one that comes to the 33,787.
Yeah, the option B is the door and the bronze that's in stock. The option A was for 8 to 10 lead time.
But in the document, it does state that they're going with option B. I think it was just more.
Correct, yes.
So option B.
Correct, which is the
29.
door that's in stock. Option,
Option A and we read up in the and
correct.
The Conair bronze and the nice finish is a beautiful finish.
none of this is.
This is all based on it, on the accessibility grant, yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Smith?
And
But-
just to kind of reiterate, on our email, you did state, so JML, did vet the two proposals and they believe that the Ritson and Sons, it will be more than adequate to do this project.
Correct, yes, that's the recommendation of them, and it is the option B, right?
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to accept JML's recommendation to award the contract for the municipal buildings accessibility project to Ritson and Sons in the amount of 33,787, including HST? Counselor Meir, Counselor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Next item 8.3 is a report on the recommended water sewer rates for 2023. Do members of council have any questions? Councilor Brand?
On the report under it says proposed rate, you've got 56.60 base rent rate per month. And then on the guide that you have at the back, it's got 51.68. Is that just a typo?
No, and that's why I wanted to take some time to explain this this further. So the guide that we have here is a rate study done for the Township of Red Rock in 2021. So previous council will remember that study. So that guide here puts us based on this schedule, but it does not include, it does not factor in the new plant and the operations around it and the new cost of operating the plant. So when you look at these numbers, if you took a proposed 5% increase, you would see that number, right? So again, those numbers they do include part of the Aqua contract, but they don't include some of the overages, and they don't include the operation of the new plant. So when the study was completed, we were still operating our old plant. So what you see in those numbers is a reflection of that. So we're finding, well, we're not finding, we're seeing that since operating the new plant, we're probably operating at least 3 to 5 times what it cost us to operate our original plant. There's many different factors. Our sludge haul, for example, is about 4 times as much as it was prior. I believe our sludge haul bill for last year was $40,000. That's outside of the original that's outside of the contract with Aqua. Our heat and gas are at least 3 times what they were prior to our old plant. Yeah, at least 3 times right now, and we're starting to see some numbers come now. So we're still also not 100% sure what our chemical cost is, because we haven't been operating the plant long enough. So we still don't have that final number. That will come from Ontario Clean Water. So if you look at these particular numbers, we're way behind. Like our system is underfunded by lots of money, right? Our average household cost based on last year was about $70.21. That's our average household cost per month based on water, sewer, including your base rate. So if you look at a 5% increase, you'd see that number go to about 73. You know, and we're taking average houses. So we have 330 residential homes that use our system. So when you look at the 15%, which is what that number represents in front of you today, it's about it's an increase of about $10.53 on average per month per household. So and again, that's residential. It brings you up to about $80.74. When you look at those numbers based on our projected costs of running our plant today, it still leaves us in a significant deficit, a real significant deficit. When you compare some other communities, which I have done, if you look at the average household, residential household in Red Rock would pay, based on last year's rates, the average household per year would be around $840 some dollars. It's an average household. If you go to the 15%, you're at about $966. I took some other comparables. Probably the best comparable, and it's a community that I'm quite aware of. Spent most of my time in that community. And it's very similar in age and demographic and population in the fact that our plant is operated by Ontario Clean Water in both communities. That in Schreiber, the average annual cost is about $1,470 a month. So we are obligated to have revenue neutral in water and sewer under the Municipal Act. We are nowhere near that. I think I've said numerous times that the next 4 years are not going to be just sunshine and roses. There's a lot of work to do. You look at the Township of Nipigon, they do things a little bit differently there. They again, we're one of the communities that has meters, right? A lot don't have meters in the smaller communities. If you look at how Nipigon does it, they charge per person in the house, so they don't have meters, so they will charge that way. Remembering that Nipigon also doesn't include sanitation or sewer in there. They don't bill individually for that. That's part of their tax base. So, so the recommendation to you is the increase, but again, the rates are set by council, right? So you could come back with whatever option council decides they want to direct us to go. I mean, from every option on the table to cutting rates to 2% to 5% to 10% to 15%. What we're saying is this will significantly be a good start for where we are, and you're still nowhere near where you need to be honest, and you're still significantly lower than a lot of communities.
Councillor Brand?
So last year there was a 5% increase. This year you're looking at a 15% increase. And is that going to be 15 ongoing or 5 ongoing percent, or is that up to council to make that decision? What would happen next year?
Any decisions like that are up to council. What we do is we can provide you with where you are based on what you paid. It also is in essence, it puts the cost on the user, right? And
how do we, I mean, everything's going up and I know that, and I understand where you're coming from, but how do we expect low income people or people on fixed incomes to keep paying out money when they don't necessarily have that money? I mean, that's 20% in 2 years that the water's going up. And I understand what you're saying, but that's a lot to put on our people, right?
Yeah, it's significantly makes an impact. And that's why the decisions are going to be tougher as they come. That we haven't even hit a budget discussion yet. I'm not saying you're not correct. But I'm giving you the reality of where it is. We've traditionally Red Rock operated their own facility. We no longer currently do that. And we pay a significant amount of money to Ontario Clean Water. Now, I'm not saying that isn't the right decision or the way to go. I mean, but I'm just telling you, it significantly increases your costs. The new facility significantly increases your costs. I mean, you look at gas, you look at hydro, you look at the chemicals that are needed. You used to run a pretty simple facility. Now you're running what they call a class 1 facility. You're hauling sludge in the amounts of $400,000 or $40,000 a year. So you're right. I mean, but you're elected to make those decisions. I can just provide you the information, and you could tell me where you want to go with it, and that's what we do.
Councillor Smith?
Just to reiterate and to kind of clarify, even with the 15% increase, you're stating that we would still be operating at a loss for this facility.
You'd be operating at a loss for your departments. For your water and sewer departments, you still would not be funding them to the level that technically you need to fund them through usership. Correct.
And then therefore, anything that's short would come from other areas of our budget, correct?
Correct. We have a pot of money that we need to operate the community. Yeah, so you can look at it one of two ways, right? You can't increase services and lower taxes. And if, you know, I mean, if you want to maintain services or you want to increase services, then you have to increase either user fees or taxation. Or you make changes. And again, those decisions are up to council, right? Whether it's how you provide services, how those again are tough decisions that would have to be made.
Councillor Muir?
Yeah, so the reality is you either do the increase on the water and again, conserve your water, or at a loss, then everybody gets dinged for a tax increase.
If you don't go to water,
Yeah, but if we don't raise these costs, we're just gonna have to raise the tax percentage to cover the costs.
yeah, so we're probably just to put a number out there as a roundabout number, we're probably still operating less a couple of $100,000 in what you're operating and that's not including capital. So there's other capital costs there as well. And you've seen significant you've seen comparables from other communities on what they're paying. I don't envy the fact that there's a 15% increase on a table. I mean, it's never easy, but what I'm saying is it's a 15% on water and sewer is significantly impacting you less than 15% on taxes. If you look at it from that, if you look at any municipality now that's either starting or looking at their budget process, you're not going to see too many numbers right now that are under 6%. The city of Thunder Bay just will ratify this week, I believe, and they started out at 6, and I think they got it down to 4.6 at 3 o'clock in the morning the other evening, and they tapped into reserves heavily for that. There's a 7% or 7.8%, I believe it was, cost of living last year. It's not fun. I don't envy you, but I'm providing you the numbers that you need based on where we stand.
Are there any other questions or comments? Councillor Smith?
Based on the numbers of operating this plant, and with the 15% increase, how it still won't, like, what, out of curiosity, what is the number that would bring us kind of net neutral in operating this facility? Like, is it going to be a continual loss, or, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to
Yeah.
fully understand.
No, for sure. So the number without capital to operate our facilities, water, sewer, and our facilities, about $638,000 a year. So our projected last year's numbers coming in, based on that, we brought in about 357,000. If you went to if you went to 5%, you'd bring that number up to about 406. If you went to 10%, you'd bring it up to 426. And if you went to 15%, you'd bring it up to 445. So if you looked at what you had, and again, that does not include capital. So if you look at that cost, you're still significantly short in your operations, right? So Councillor Muir is correct. You have to operate. So in essence, you have to get that under the way we currently operate and the current structure that we have. That's roughly what you need.
Could council look at other ways of perhaps making changes or other things within our community? Okay.
Councillor Mayor.
Yeah, this is inevitable. I've known 4 years since we heard what size of the plant was, and being on council previously. I knew what I was getting into when I ran, and I apologize to everyone else, but I'm gonna put a motion in to pass this. This is just the reality of the situation for that massive plant that we have there. This is the reality of the situation. A motion in for to move the CAO's recommendation. It is best option as at this point, in my opinion. I would put motion into support.
Councillor Brand.
Just one more question. At that time, and I'm not trying to put pressure on yourself or Mayor Robinson, but did you foresee this situation when the decision was made to have the new plant?
Yep.
Oh.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to set the water sewer rates for 2023 as follows? Base rates of $56 and 50 cents per month per household, with a consumption rate of $2.44 per cubic meter. Councillor Muir. Councillor Gladden. All in favor? Abstaining? Okay. Okay, next item 8.4 is a report with the recommendation to move forward with the community budget survey for the 2023 budget and taxation process. Do any members of council have any questions of Mr. Pigman? Councilor Brand. I mean, Councilor Muir.
So Mark, I'm just wondering if I like this idea and the questions, and everything were perfect. I'm just wondering if we get a nice little pie chart summary at the end of it.
Yeah, so again, it is the process you should follow with budget. You should engage the community. It's council's budget. But yes, there will be. So we are going to run this through Survey Monkey or Google Docs, one of those that will come out with that. So we're not going to, I mean, it technically will not be a paper document. You will have to go on to the Survey Monkey and do it that way. They will come up with all of the answers. Those answers will be provided. They'll be public. They'll be provided.
Perfect.
And again, it will put us in line with, we'll know what the community, how happy they are with what we do, how unhappy they are with what we do, and what their feelings are based on the services we provide and going into budget.
Right. And just to add to that, like, I mean, that's the important part, is finding out, because at the end of the day, when we're going to look at the taxes and whatnot next after the water, you're going to look and you're going to see, and sometimes people want to do things and it costs money. It costs money. So this is perfect to have.
Any other questions? Councilor Brand?
So I like this survey. I just had a few suggestions or wondered if we could, if other additions can be on. So under 5, please select the option that best reflects your views and budget and services level. You've got unsure. Can other go there too? So if there's other suggestions or options, then under 6, same thing. I just wondered if if we could put other for other options.
I think they're covered in other questions. Like,
Okay.
I don't know, like, so if you're looking at 5, there really isn't any other options under how we can, I mean, we're asking if you would support increasing to enhance services, which obviously would be a significant increase, right? Increasing property taxes just to maintain services and or decreasing property taxes. So
Okay.
I don't know what else you could
Okay.
put there for other, and it does, we follow up with that in other questions where they're asking, what was your second question? 6?
So yeah, it was just again to put other, that's all.
Yeah, so basically on 6, it kind of complements 5, right? So are you in favor of increasing taxes, or would you like to see introducing new types of fees, or by increasing existing user fees, which
Okay.
technically is what we did today. like I said, it's kind of a, it confuses me a bit when you might be looking to lower taxes in certain areas, but then not looking to increase a user fee in another area. I guess I need clearer direction on that, because that part of it is confusing to me. But I think the questions, I mean, we can alter them to whatever the decision of a majority of council is, but I'm comfortable with it going like this.
Okay, and then my third one was just at number 7, how would you rate your township's performance based on current services delivered? What services are you talking about?
Any
So could you,
services.
well, so could you have it categorized as your, say, your public works, your rec, your library, your admin, your fire, your marina, those, and then people, because then you're getting a clearer picture as to where.
So with the survey, and you're only allowed a certain number of questions and in there for them. So the Survey Monkey would cap at 10 questions. So
That's still part of one question.
9 and 10 though, 9 gives us, tell us what we're doing well, 10 gives us, tell us what we can improve on. Comment boxes are down there.
So
So
then,
you can pick and then write a comment in there.
I don't know, I like the idea of having categories, but those were just a few of my comments on that.
So what we need tonight is a clear direction from council as to whether we're ready to put this survey out tomorrow,
Okay.
or
any-
we
any
hold it off.
questions, please?
It will not be mailed out, no.
Put a motion in. I like the survey
Okay.
the way it is.
Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to publish a community budget survey for the 2023 budget process? Councillor Meir, Councillor Smith, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, item 8.5, discussion purposes relating to backyard chickens with the Township of Red Rock residential limits. Do any members of council have any questions? Oh, Councillor Smith.
I have a question. Would the adoption of chickens cost the municipality any more money to manage than we are collecting? I know and just basing it on the bylaw that was supplied in the email, where they would charge a $30 permit fee for chickens. Now, to ensure that these chickens are maintained and cared for appropriately with regards to the bylaw, we of course need a bylaw person to check these. So is this adding more work to the bylaw officer than we're bringing in money? Are we going again into this is going to cost us more to ensure everybody's doing it properly or maintaining these chickens than we are bringing in? I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but.
Are you asking? Yeah, I think I could touch on it, and Councillor Muir, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I can comment. So this was brought forward, and I guess some of the places such as Kitchener, there's a place in Saanich, BC, they set up the parameters so that it's not free. So there's designations on things such as coop size, location of your coop, and fees. So it'd be like a permit to start up, and then you'd have something like a yearly inspection. So like a $50 permit to have a limit of say 4 hens, no roosters. You would need neighbor consent. Then this is going by by bylaws in other cities and towns. But it would be, again, you would have a yearly inspection at a cost of say $50. So it would actually be about $50 a year plus whatever cost. So it's not a cheap venture, but the municipality with those should recover recoup, no pun intended, some costs. See, I waited for that, right? Yeah, you should be able to make a little bit of profit off this if done correctly, right, through a bylaw.
So did I just
yeah.
miss it in the bylaw that I read? Because what I read was a $30 permit fee. And then there was other things like if you didn't have a big enough coop, there's a $100 fine, all these fines I
Right,
saw.
yeah.
But I only saw the one-time fee I didn't see any other.
There was a link to Kitchener, the Kitchener bylaws, and they have a whole page, chicken page on chickens.
No, I get it. And then the other thing around
Yeah.
that too was the fact that the Kitchener and Saanich, I know Saanich have been there,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
all these places are huge compared to,
Oh, yeah, no.
so,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm just trying, so I'm trying to say, like,
So I think what the CEO is looking for is direction. So if we want to proceed with this, then we would have to come up with our own bylaw, right? And, you know, if it's yearly inspection,
Yeah.
yearly fees, small size, forehand, like all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
if that's how council wants to proceed, then we'll give him direction and then he can look into coming back later on with a new bylaw that's accepting to everyone. Councillor Gladden?
Yeah, I just have a comment. I think before you get someone in the bylaw enforcement and the situation with a lot of these are veterinarians are involved. I think until that we get that in place, I think it's personally, I appreciate the cost of eggs are going up, cost of chickens and everything, but I think at this point, just my opinion is that until you get enforcement and veterinarians back in the swing of things, then I don't think it's very viable. I think it's a good idea, but I don't think for Red Rock at this time.
And if I can speak to Counselor Smith's point, I think you're right. It would significantly, we would see costs on it. We're not staffed accordingly for that right now. We did have a situation in Red Rock last year where we had to deal with chickens. We had a resident complaint. We had photos taken of the chickens. It takes significant work to do that. Our current bylaw doesn't allow it, so we had to act on that. But without getting into identifying staff, we operate right now on a property standards, basically on a complaint type of. So I know there's pros and cons to everything, but again, I'll take if council directs us to look at that, we will. But currently, we have a bylaw that doesn't allow it, so that'd be the direction we'd be looking for today, is to simply say, okay, we're not in favor of our current bylaw, and we want to look at changing that bylaw. So, I mean, it's a policy decision of council. Again, there's pros and cons, right? You're going to get the fact that, sure, the cost of food is high. Are we staffed accordingly for it right now in the municipality? I don't believe so. I mean, the result we had, or the findings on the last time, and some of the that we did deal with this last year in Red Rock. I mean, there's many different factors to both sides, right? You hear that. I mean, there's the chance that other animals come into your community. There's the cleanliness part of it. There's trying. It's probably a full-time job for somebody to be able to manage. Is it a good idea? It could be, but again, we would have to look a lot further into it for sure.
Councillor Smith?
In your opinion, do you have room even on your plate to, add this to your workload? Personally, I think you would probably have other things that are better suited for your time at this moment until we can kind of sort other things out.
Well, I think I'll answer it like this. Council had a very tough decision on water rates this evening, and you're going to see the same type of decisions in budget time. So I think this would significantly call for an additional staff person, if not more staff time. So are we looking to maintain services? Are we looking to cut services? Or are we looking to enhance services? I guess would be the question I would pose at this time. Again, I don't have an opinion on it as per se. I will take whatever direction I have, and we'll bring back information if that's the case.
Councillor Brand?
The other thing, when I was reading the bylaw, is that you have to have neighbor consent also for this. So I'm assuming that would be on both sides, behind you. And it also talked about that you only need to clean the coop 2 to 3 times a year. So you're looking at the cleanliness, the odors, you're looking at noise, you know, not that it's a bad noise, but it's that constant, you know, how, so is your neighbor going to appreciate that?
But again, that's somebody else's bylaw, right? So, I mean, you know, yeah. For sure, you are. Yep.
Your worship. Yeah, both,
Counselor Mayor.
I mean, all the websites I looked at were extensive, right? And yeah, very valid points on operational, yes.
I think we'll just put it on the back burner for now.
Yeah, whatever the direction is, yeah.
We'll address it at a different time if it comes up.
That's the direction then?
Yeah.
Just,
Okay, item 8.6 is for approval purposes relating to the water account at 4 Baker Road. Do members of council have any questions of Mr. Piccinini? Councilor Brand?
My question is just, so you say that it's habitually freezing. Why is there not a way to correct this so that isn't happening?
so the reasoning is the fact that the line is very shallow. The water line feeding that service is very shallow. We did repairs last year to it, but we didn't change the depth of it. So last year the individual froze, and we were providing potable water to him. So we couldn't, our machine would not get around what we deem is an angle or an elbow in there. So we did get in there and correct that. But we didn't do the massive job of changing the levels and the piping. It will freeze again. We're very confident that it would freeze, maybe not this year, but it will freeze again. It's just not down low enough, or down. It's up too high, right? So could you ultimately fix it? I guess you could. It would be a massive undertaking, and I mean, what you're looking at is probably less than $100 to have them run their water over the season of freezing, based on the fact that I mean, we deal with Jay's Garage quite a bit. Great people to deal with, very reasonable. They're more than happy with the fact that they're still paying the delivery of their water. They're happy with paying the average usage of their water. It happened right around Christmas. He came to me, or just after, and said, you know what, he had started to see signs of it slowing again. So I said, just run it, and I'll get it to the next meeting of council. I think last year it represented a write-off of $102 or something for the 4 months that we had it. So if you look at the fact of digging up a complete water line and doing that, I think, to be honest, this is the way to do it.
I was just thinking something, you know, you have your water line, maybe you put some of that styrofoam insulation to keep it from freezing. That's kind of, I was thinking like simple fix.
Well,
But
it's you can insulate it all you want. It's only down. I mean, that particular line is only down, I believe it's 3 or 4 feet. So it should be down, you know, probably 6 or so feet, right? So you didn't see it. The building sat vacant for years. Like I said, kind of went by everyone without noticing. And one day the proprietors went to work and they didn't have water. We couldn't get them water because we couldn't get around what is a bend in the line. Again, we have fixed that, we think, but we don't really want to take any chances.
Okay, and just note that Councillor Smith did declare conflict. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to adjust the utility bill for 4 Baker Road to compensate the running of water? Of water in order to avoid freezing lines? Councillor, Gladden? Brand, all in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, 8.7, approval purposes relating to the tent camping rates on the 2023 fee schedule. Do any members of council have any questions of Mr. Figurine? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to adjust the 2023 monthly tenting rate at the marina camping to 300 per month? Councilor Gladden, Councilor Smith, all in favor? All hands are rising, motion's carried. Okay, 9.1 bylaw regulate winter parking in the township of Red Rock. Does council have any questions of Mr. Bickering of administration? Council Brand?
I'm wondering about the escape road. Does that include the escape road for this parking? I know we have a vehicle that tends to park up there. Is it in the way for the town guys for when they're having to plow? Are you familiar with what I'm?
No, I'm not familiar with, and that's something they haven't brought to me. But I can follow that up. I mean, it would be. I mean, if they're cleaning that road and needing to clean it, obviously as an escape route, then I would think it would apply to that road as well. This was brought to us by Public Works, and I think it makes a lot of sense. The fact that they're out there cleaning roads, and it's basically an alteration of our times, right? So it's allowing us to clean or to have access to the road from for those new hours. But I can follow up on that was something that was never brought to my attention, but
It is a large vehicle that's there. Tow truck. I was just curious if that would, I mean, I'm sure this guy doesn't want to come out one day and there's a ticket. Or this pin, whatever it is, this infraction. And then I was just curious about the times too. So from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m.
yeah, so those are kind of the regular times that we would, in essence, be trying to keep the roads clean and being able to clean the roads, right? So when our crew is out there, if they're starting early or running late, right? So I mean, again, I mean, under a certain extra situation, it may go longer, but I doubt that. This keeps us open during those times. I believe the hours on the previous bylaw were
So it's 5 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. So after 5 p.m. I can still park in front of my house or somebody's house if they have company.
if you wanted to get up and move it before 5 a.m.
No, I'm saying after 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So 5 a.m. in the morning, 5 p.m. I cannot park, but at 5 p.m. or you're going 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. It says from 5 a.m.
Right.
Like 5 a.m. is their plowing to 5 p.m. That's when they're plowing. So between 5 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. at night, or in the morning to night, then no parking.
This is obviously when it's snowing out,
Yeah.
when there's a snow, right? And you know that Public Works will be called into work.
Perfect, yeah.
So
Right.
Okay.
I'm not following because the way I understand is the clock just moves, right? So 5 a.m. if you were
And this is recommendation.
if you were going to
from-
park at 5:01 outside and you moved it if you was still there at 5:01 a.m.
I'm just thinking if I have somebody coming over for supper at 5 o'clock,
Yep.
they can't be parked in the street.
Correct.
5:01 they can. Until 5:01. 5:01 they can.
Yeah.
park
Okay,
out
but
front.
this is all
Yeah,
relates
okay.
to snow
Yeah.
events,
Yeah.
right? Where
Okay.
Public
Yeah,
Works will
I just
be out
wanted to
plowing.
clarify that, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, thank you.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the bylaw? Counselor Meir, Counselor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, items 11.1 to 11.4 under unfinished business. Do any members of the council have any questions? All ongoing. Councillor Muir?
Just wondering, we're gonna circle back to those committees. We have,
Yeah, again, direction of council where we'd want to go. So we've established the committees that we need, right? That we needed to get done right away, right? So we've got, your fire, your library, we took care of the outside boards with health and district social services, right? Where I guess we want to go from there. So we've
Were we not waiting for feedback from the advertising on who wants to join?
Well, we were
Did we
waiting
agree?
for that and we've met again with individuals on that. So there was a bit of we put it back out there. But again, I guess the direction would be where exactly does council, like what committees do you want to establish? Like, because really they are committees of council. Do we want to have do we want to pull from that pool of names and have a recreation committee? Do you want I guess direction and suggestions on what committees we'd be looking for?
Councillor Smith?
Sorry. Yeah, my thought around that, I think, and I'm not too sure, and I get confused with these sometimes. Is that possibly maybe have further discussion around what the existing committees we currently have and reviewing what their roles and responsibilities are, and then kind of going from there based on what we want to keep, what we don't want to keep, what we want to add and don't want to, that's where I thought where we can kind of try to streamline things. And so we have, really just the committees that we require and nothing more, nothing less.
Well, we still do have the beautification committee. But yeah, I mean, I can bring back a list of those committees and take suggestions on council on whether they're committees you wanted to establish. Again, they're committees of council if it was recreation, and then we can advertise that way.
yeah, I think that, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I was kind of referring to.
Interesting.
And this is, I'm speaking for myself only, but if I could, again, seeing the list of committees, seeing what those committees are responsible for and their roles, then we can kind of go from there and decide better of, is it worthy keeping them, or is it worthy amalgamating a couple of them, or whatever.
It might have something to do with the budget process as well, right? Depending on how that rolls out. So
Exactly right.
okay, the next item is a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council. Can I have a mover and seconder for a motion to pass the bylaw? Councillor Glenn. Councillor Smith. All in favor? All hands rising, motion's carried. Okay, just a reminder that next council meeting will be on Tuesday, February 21st, because on Monday is Family Day. Okay.
That's right.
Time being 8:13, no further business to attend to. The meeting is adjourned.
Calendar now.